I was surprised and sad that he seemed to remember that far back. "Steak and potatoes," I answered, and he looked relieved. He seemed to feel awkward standing in the kitchen, doing nothing. He lumbered into the living room to watch TV while I worked. We were both more comfortable that way. I made a salad while the steaks cooked and set the table. I called him in when dinner was ready, and he sniffed appreciatively as we walked in the room. "Smells good, Bo." "Thanks." We ate in silence for a few minutes. It wasn't uncomfortable. Neither of us was bothered by the quiet. In some ways, we were well suited for living together. "So, how did you like school? Have you met any friends?" he asked, as he was taking seconds. "Well, I have a few classes with a girl named Jessica. I sit with her friends at lunch, and there's this boy, Mike, who's very friendly. Everybody seems pretty nice, with one outstanding exception. That must be Mike Newton. Nice kid, nice family. His dad owns a sporting goods store just outside of town. He makes a good living off the backpackers who come through here." "Do you know the Cohen family?" I asked hesitantly. "Dr. Cohen family?" "Sure, Dr. Cohen's a great man. The kids are a little different. They don't seem to fit in very well at school." Charlie surprised me by looking angry. "People in this town," he muttered. "Dr. Cohen is a brilliant surgeon who could probably work at any hospital in the world, make 10 times the salary he gets here," he continued, getting louder. "We're lucky to have him. Lucky that his wife wanted to live in a small town. He's an asset to the community, and all of those kids who are well-behaved and polite. I have my doubts when they first moved in with all those adopted teenagers. I thought we might have some problems with them, but they are all very mature. I haven't had one speck of trouble with any of them. That's more than I can say for the children of some folks who have lived in this town for generations. And they stick together the way a family should. Camping trips every other weekend, just because they're newcomers, people have to talk." It was the longest speech I'd ever had Charlie make. He must feel strongly about whatever people were saying. I backpedaled. "They seemed nice enough to me. I just noticed they kept to themselves. They are all very attractive," I added, trying to be more complimentary. "You should see the doctor," Charlie said, laughing. "It's a good thing he's happily married. A lot of nurses at the hospital have a hard time concentrating on their work with him around." We lapsed back into silence as we finished eating. He cleared the table while I started on the dishes. He went back to the TV, and after I finished washing dishes by hand, no dishwater, I went upstairs, unwillingly, to work on my math homework. I could feel a tradition in the making. That night it was finally quiet. I fell asleep quickly, exhausted. The rest of my week was uneventful. I got used to the routine of my classes. By Friday I was able to recognize, if not name, almost all the students at school. In gym, the kids on my team learned not to pass me the ball and to step quickly in front of me if the other team tried to take advantage of my weakness. I happily stayed out of their way. Edward Cohen didn't come back to school. Every day I watched anxiously until the rest of the Cohens entered the cafeteria without him. Then I could relax and join in the lunchtime conversation. Mostly it centered around a trip to the La Push Ocean Park in 2 weeks that Mike was putting together. I was invited, and I had agreed to go, more out of politeness than desire. Beaches should be hot and dry. By Friday, I was perfectly comfortable entering my biology class, no longer worried that Edward would be there. For all I knew, he had dropped out of school. I tried not to think about him, but I couldn't totally suppress the worry that I was responsible for his continued absence, ridiculous as it may seem. My first weekend in Florence passed without incident. Charlie, unused to spending time in the unusually empty house, worked most of his weekend. I cleaned the house, got ahead of my homework, and wrote my mom more bogusly cheerful email. I did drive to the library Saturday, but it was so poorly stocked that I didn't bother to get a card. I would have to make a date to visit Olympia or Seattle soon and find a good bookstore. I wondered idly what kind of gas mileage the truck got, and shuddered at the thought. The rain stayed soft over the weekend, quiet, so I was able to sleep well. People greeted me in the parking lot Monday morning. I didn't know all their names, but I waved back and smiled at everyone. It was colder this morning, but happily not raining. In English, Mike took his accustomed seat by my side. He had a pop quiz on Wuthering Heights. It was straightforward, very easy. All in all, I was feeling a lot more comfortable than I had thought I would feel by this point. More comfortable than I had ever expected to feel here. When we walked out of class, the air was full of swirling bits of white. I could hear people shouting excitedly to each other. The wind bit at my cheeks, my nose. "Wow," Mike said. "It's snowing." I looked at the little cotton fluffs that were building up along the sidewalk and the swirling erratically past my face. Ew. Snow. There wasn't a good day. He looked surprised. "You don't like snow?" "No, that means it's too cold for rain, obviously. Besides, I thought it was supposed to come down in flakes, each one unique and all that. These just look like the end of Q-tips." "Haven't you seen snowfall before?" he asked, incredulously. "Sure I have." I paused. "On TV." Mike laughed, and then a big, squishy ball of dripping snow smacked into the back of his head. We both turned to see where it came from. I had my suspicions about Eric, who was walking away, his back toward us, in the wrong direction for his next class. Mike apparently had the same notion. He bent over and began scraping up together a pile of white mush. "I'll see you at lunch, okay?" I kept walking as I spoke. "Once people start throwing wet stuff, I go inside." He just nodded, his eyes on Eric's retreating figure. Throughout the morning, everyone chattered excitedly about the snow. Apparently it was the first snowfall of the new year. I kept my mouth shut. Sure, it was drier than rain, until it melted into your socks.